My name is Chris, and I have both ADHD and autism. And because of that, sometimes I do some pretty weird things. I avoid spaces. I actively avoid spaces if I know that there's going to be people there. And it's not because of social anxiety, because I will avoid spaces even if there's people in there that I like and have no fear of talking to. I do it because I don't want to have conversations, because they can be problematic for me, and I don't want to deal with that all the time. So I'll be in my office, and I'll be working very productively, and then all of a sudden, my stomach will start making noises, and it vocalizes its dissatisfaction with me at the fact that I haven't eaten in 40 hours. I suddenly feel a little bit hungry. What I'll do is I will sneak out of my office very quietly, ninja-like, and I will peek into the kitchen and assess to see whether or not the coast is clear. Because here's the truth. Regardless of how hungry I am, regardless of what my stomach is telling me, if there is anybody at all in that kitchen, I will not go in it. What I will do is 180 it right back to my office, and I will pretend that I never was hungry. My office used to be located in one of the schools, and this particular school had 3 wings, and each wing had its own bathroom. What I realized early on was that there was one wing, the West Wing, that was the least populated, and so that was my go-to choice for bathrooms. And I liked going there for a long time because there was never anyone who was there. But our staff grew, and eventually my fellow autistic colleagues at this school also caught on to this bathroom. And pretty soon it started to get more populated. So I had to figure that out. And figure it out I did. So what I would do in this situation is I would have to pee, because I was drinking a lot of water because it was important to stay hydrated. It was good for my skin, and Debby was giving me a lot of reminders. So anyway, I would have to go pee, and I would sneak in the back, and I would look. If there was nobody there, beeline it for the bathroom, take care of it, and get out of there. In, out, no messing around. But it didn't always happen so easily. It wasn't always smooth sailing, let me tell you. So sometimes I would go back there, and whoa, there would be other people there. And man, it really, boom, it's like running into a brick wall. So, you could just be like, really weird and awkward, and just stand there for a little bit, numb and frozen. You're very possibly in the fight or flight mode at this point, and you could just stand there and be weird and then just suddenly turn around. But no, we can't do that. As a supervisor of a large staff, that would not have gone over well. You can't do that. You can't just go into a bathroom, see someone, stop, stand there, look confused like you don't know who you are, where you're going, and then randomly just turn around abruptly. I don't know, that's a little bit jarring behavior. So I was very fortunate, because right across from the bathroom, there was a storage room. And what I would do if I saw someone waiting for the bathroom, or washing their hands on the outside of the bathroom, I would casually pretend that my purpose for being in this vicinity was not because I needed to use the restroom. No, I needed to go into the storage room. And so I would just, you're walking, you kind of tilt, see people, and boom, you head to the storage room. And I would go into the storage room and sit there and look at all of the stuff on the shelves and kind of giggle to myself, feel a little bit ashamed, felt a little bit foolish, because honestly, I had absolutely no reason for going into the storage room. But I would have to look at some of the shelves and decide, I can't just leave the storage room empty-handed. I need to grab something. I need to make this look as real as possible. So I would just grab pencils off of the shelf, or a stack of papers, and, act really confident walking out like, this is what I really needed to be able to close out this particular project. So, congrats to me for finding this stack of 500 sheets of paper that I'm going to bring to my office and use throughout the day when I happen to need the paper. And that's what I would do. Also, interesting story. I was with my wife on holiday, Christmas time, and we were in London. We love London. London is a fantastic place to be during Christmas. It's my favorite city. Been to a lot of cities, but London, it's got so much cool stuff happening. Sometimes it can be overwhelming, but anyway, I really enjoy going there. So we were staying at a hotel, and there was a little place nearby, kind of a row of Christmas spots. And I wanted to go there to get my goddaughter some Christmas gifts. And I also wanted to surprise Debbie with a Christmas present. So I couldn't very well have Debbie come along with me. It was a little unsettling. It was not an easy venture, let me tell you, but I had to do it. Pep talked myself up, waited for Debbie to have meetings and stuff that she was doing because we often work remotely. And I told her, hey, I'm going out and grab a little bite for us to eat, and then I'm going to pick up a few goodies for our goddaughter. She was right about ready to start her meeting. It was perfect timing. She couldn't object or anything. She couldn't ask a ton of questions, and I skedaddled out of there. So did my shopping. It was a challenging experience, but I picked up some stuff, and I had some bags. And on the way back, I was waiting for the elevator, and these two guys came in. Two friendly British gentlemen, and they looked at my bags and started chatting with me. Man, don't do that, guys. Don't chat with me, please. As I was waiting for the elevator, I could hear them. I could hear the footsteps. I could hear the chatter. They were in great spirits. It's the holiday season, probably last day they had to work. You know, might have had a little something pleasant to drink. They were a little bit loud, and they were chatting it up. And as they approached, and I'm holding my bags, I don't know, my whole body tensed up. I felt horrible. I knew something was coming. I knew it was going to happen. You know, I'm by myself looking there. It's just, I'm a perfect target. Looked friendly. So they saw the bags, and then they, a little bit of Christmas shopping there, eh? And all this stuff. Oh, man. So I did what I had to do, and I smiled and, was returning a little bit of the chit-chat. Oh, yeah, getting my wife a little something. We're here on holiday. Love the city. Blah, 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 back and forth. A casual onlooker would honestly probably think that I was having a good time. They would look at the situation and they would say, wow, these are buddies. They're going to probably hit up a lounge bar somewhere together, throw back a couple of glasses of some good quality whiskey, and maybe light up some cigars and chat about all of the good stuff. Chat about the latest financial situation and the good stock bargains. But actually inside, I was hyperventilating. I could barely breathe, and I was starting to sweat in all sorts of uncomfortable spots. I couldn't do it. My body was at a tipping point, and I knew if I got into that elevator with these two friendly and harmless gentlemen that my brain would explode, and I didn't want that to happen. So I just suddenly and abruptly, I didn't even really think about it, reached down, grabbed my phone, and acted like somebody had just emergency texted me. Nobody had. Nobody even, no one texts me really. Nobody messages me. And I looked, shocked and startled. And then I just turned around and beelined it for the stairway. And I got in a stairwell, and I just, let it all out. I felt so proud of myself. I was just like, yes! I did it. I freaking did it. Suckers! Take that, small talk, gents. And then I proceeded to walk up 7 flights of stairs with my heavy bags until I got to my hotel room. Another thing, in addition to avoiding rooms, I have some pretty peculiar eating habits. So I'm not going to get into tons of detail about eating habits because it's its own video in its own right. But I will eat the same stuff for long periods of time. So lately, it's been cheese, 2 kinds of meat, and crackers. I've been going for this platter. I'm closing in on 2 months. I will knock it out for breakfast. Sometimes it's my lunch. Sometimes it's my dinner. I'm going strong. The only change I made is it just used to be, I would say for the first 3 weeks, it was just one type of meat. But then I got this brilliant idea. When I was in the grocery store, I saw this pack of chorizo, and it looked so inviting. It looked like something that would be on a pepperoni pizza. So I grabbed it, and then I said, you know what? I don't want to do any more grocery shopping than I need to. So I actually grabbed 3 more packages of the chorizo, and I brought it home, and I added it to my meat, cheese, and cracker platter. And it just, I don't know, we bonded so quickly. Everything worked out so well. I maintained the relationship. I've kept it going. And I've been, like I said, I've been doing it for about 2 months, and I'm going strong. I think because I'm currently traveling, working remotely. So as long as I'm here or if I'm in another spot I can find these ingredients, I'm going to keep doing it because I love it and I need it. The other thing that I've been knocking back a lot recently, so I would say a little over 2 weeks, is cottage cheese and peaches. And again, I was just at the grocery store. I saw the combination. First, I saw the canned peaches. You never see canned peaches in Taiwan. So I grabbed them where I was. And then when I got to the dairy section, I saw it looked like cottage cheese. I took a risk. I didn't understand the language, but I took a risk. And then I took it home, and it was cottage cheese. It was delicious. It was large curds. It was the large curd variety of cottage cheese, thank goodness. And I blended my canned peaches in, and I went at it. Oh, good quality protein. It's worked out really well, and I've been going at that for 2 weeks and 2 days, and that's going strong. The other thing that's kind of interesting about my eating habits is, people think, oh, breakfast time, we have kind of a certain array of options for breakfast. Lunchtime, we have a certain style that we're looking for, and then dinner's similar. For me, no. Why? If I feel like a cheeseburger for breakfast, I'm going to eat a cheeseburger for breakfast. And that's what I'm actually going to have for breakfast tomorrow, because that sounds absolutely amazing. I'm going to put sweet pickles on it, lettuce, tomato, Dijon mustard, mayonnaise, ketchup, and a little bit of onion. And I'm going to figure out one other thing to put on it. I don't know what, but I'm going to find out. It's going to be ridiculous, but delicious. And I'm going to have a cheeseburger for breakfast tomorrow. Okay, so another weird thing that I do is I will just leave conversations. Yeah, it sounds a little bit rude, but it's my neurology, and I have to do it. So let me give you some examples. I will be at a gathering with Debby. We'll be at a social event. We do a few of them. Just because you're neurodivergent, autistic or whatever, doesn't mean you can avoid these things all of the time if you're married and your wife likes to go to them. And she goes to some by herself. But there are times where I feel like I need to accompany her. She does so much for me, it's the least I can do. So I go to these social events, and there's people. All of this talking. They talk about the dumbest stuff. They talk about the most meaningless, stupid things. And they never deep dive into any one topic. They'll talk about one thing for maybe 5-6 minutes, and then they jump to something else, and they jump to something else. And it's always, oh, yeah, no, Susie did this, or, the weather, we had this event, and then the rain, and oh my gosh, we were working on this, So I'll be there, and I'm next to Debby, and we're chit-chatting. 5 minutes in the conversation, I can't do it anymore. So I will do something like, hey, guys, I gotta hit the bathroom, or feeling a little bit hungry. I'm gonna check out the cheese, meat, and cracker platter and grab something quick bite to eat. I'll be right back. But I don't come back. I have no intention of coming back. And the funny thing about it is Debby knows. She knows I'm not coming back. But what can she do? Grab me and say, no, don't. You're not eating. You don't need to eat. No, this guy, he'll leave and he won't come back. He does this all the time. No. You're right here. You're staying here. She can't do that. So she lets me go. She has to. And then she has to sit there and listen to this boring, drawn out conversation about absolutely nothing important. She's going to forget about it in like 20 minutes. It's that boring and stupid. And she's going to have to sit there and take it. And while I'm off away from people, I don't even know if there is a cheese or a meat platter. I just made that up. But I'm in a little bit safer, quieter spot, and I'm recuperating. And I'm kind of giggling because I know what she's thinking. Oh, she wants to pinch me right in the butt. Can't catch me. But eventually she finds me, and she will pinch me in the butt. And I let her because I deserve to be pinched. Sometimes I remember I would have meetings, and there's stuff that we had to talk about, but some of the staff member, they would just, you can kind of, okay, guys, all right, simmer down here a little bit. Let's get to it. Bam. What about bam, bam, bam? And my staff understood that, and, it worked out a lot of the times. But some of the days, I don't know if it was too much sensory stimulation or it was lack of sleep or something. There are days where I felt like my brain couldn't do it very well. So I would just leave meetings and I would tell them I have to go to the bathroom, and I would never go back. It's so horrible. But they got used to it and they carried on without me. And one or two of them would send me the meeting notes where they would update me later in bullet point fashion. I'm so busy. I'm so shy. I was a little bit too shy. Another thing that I do that's weird is I get frustrated pretty regularly if I'm interrupted. So obviously if I'm working and someone comes in and interrupts me, that's going to be frustrating to me. I get frustrated. But it doesn't always have to be people who trigger this inner frustration, this deep, burning clawing animal inside that just, when I'm interrupted, I don't know, it's released from its cage, and it just starts clawing my inside. It just scratches my intestines and my body and my liver. It'll elbow me in the liver, jumps onto my kidneys and kind of catapults up into my lungs. It's extremely uncomfortable. So, of course, I get frustrated. If somebody was inside your body, smashing your kidneys and livers, you would get frustrated too. But it's not always people. I have some issues with technology at times because, I don't know, I feel like technology is created specifically for people who are not like me. And I struggle with technology. I think a lot of it is the change. Sometimes my computer will update, but it won't tell me it's going to update. It just decides to do it on its own, which I feel like is a bit dishonest. And that's not really part of the arrangement or the agreement. That I did not sign up for that. I did not give my computer permission to reboot under any circumstances. In fact, I'm pretty upfront and clear with my computer from day one. I'm in charge, okay? Here's the power dynamic. And I know a lot of autistics aren't really into social hierarchies and stuff like that. But with my computer, I'll let them know right away. Boom, hey, guess what? I'm in charge. I just realized what it is. My computer's autistic. Probably has PDA and doesn't like being forced with these unrealistic demands. God, it's all making sense to me now. So you learn something every day. I had no idea I was going to piece this together making this video. I had no idea that I was going to empathize with my computer and come to an understanding. After I'm done with this video, I'll have a heart-to-heart with my ThinkPad, my Lenovo ThinkPad, and I'll start with an apology and we'll work through it. But anyway, in the past, before this revelation happened in my brain, it would just update and it would restart, and sometimes my folders would close. The whole physical organization of what was on the screen just abruptly changed, and I would lose it. Man, sometimes my head would explode. I've broken some mice, the cursor movement apparatus machinery. I've broken that. I broke an iPad, but I had a legitimate reason to break that because you're siding with me on this one. The Lenovo, you might be like, dude, that power dynamic is a little bit unrealistic. I think you should be a little bit more empathetic and compassionate, blah, blah, blah. But with the iPad, I'm being billed for these subscriptions, and I'm pretty confident that I canceled them. And by me canceling them, I'm pretty confident I told Debby to cancel them. And she said she did, but apparently she did not. Hard to get mad at somebody for not canceling your subscriptions on your iPad. So I wasn't mad at her, but I'm trying to navigate this canceling the subscription, and they're making it so freaking complicated. It's impossible. There are all of these options, reverting you back to this, go to the general function and all notification things. Oh, come on. Couldn't do it. So, I was at that point where I had tried to include Debby earlier. I didn't feel like I wanted to bother her with this new thing. And she was right there. And she was like, hey, let me do it. Probably in hindsight should have given her the iPad and let her do it. But I felt it was more necessary at that moment in time to just throw my iPad on the floor as hard as I could and smash it with my foot. That's what I did. I felt so good. It felt really good. I also have my own language because I realize that words don't work well for me sometimes. If I'm feeling stressed or overwhelmed, sometimes I go into this state where I can't collect the right word. Sometimes it's also difficult for me to describe my feelings, maybe because I'm not really understanding my feelings, or it's because there's no words that seem to fit for the feelings that I'm experiencing. But sometimes you use and you develop these words, and then they just kind of become part of your repertoire. They become part of your arsenal of language. And there are certain words that I use for so many purposes. They're what I call my special words. And they fill my body with this warm wave, this rush of just giggly, warm feelings. It's like, I know the coolest secret in the world and no one else knows, that kind of feeling. And it takes through your whole body, from your pinky toe all the way up to your head. And I like that feeling. And sometimes I use it because I don't want to have to explain things. And when I use these words around my special people, they get it. So my favorite word is shy. Shy. You can't just say the word either. That's the thing. Shy. Hey, I'm shy. Oh, come on. Lame. You have to get your whole body involved in it. I mean, you got to think this thing through. It takes practice. And I have practiced. You got to close your throat a little bit. Shy. a little nasal. I think the goal here is to kind of make it sound a little bit nasty. That was really one of my original goals for coming up with my favorite go-to words, is they needed to have an element of nastiness to it. That was really important for me when I was creating these words. So, shy, I am shy. I do that. I do it a lot. But then over time I realized I needed to build on it. I needed to expand the usage of shy. So I went from I am shy to I have been shy. I will be a little shy. I had once been becoming a little bit too shy. Shy. The other word that I used, it's newer. It's a newer one, is busy. I'm so busy. Hey, what you doing, bud? Oh, I'm so busy. I'm so busy. I'm too busy. I'm so busy. Busy. I'm not. A lot of the times I'm not busy at all. I'm going from one room to another and I just don't want to talk, or I just want to make noise. So I've been using that a lot too. Shy and busy. I'm a busy bee. I woke up this morning and I was putting on my clothes and I realized the shirt that I wanted to wear was in the laundry room. But to get to the laundry room, I would have to pass the table, and I knew Debbie was working on the table. And on my way there, I just didn't want to engage in any chit chat. I wasn't having it. She had a meeting with one of her students, and I know she's going to want to talk about it. And I'm going to be there. Okay, I'm going to be available for it. And I was available for it. Okay, she might not be autistic, but she has needs. And I know that she gets excited about talking about her students, especially this one particular student who is neurodivergent and is brilliant, an extremely special human being. It's very exciting to see her transitioning from high school to university. She's going to do some fantastic and amazing things with her life. But I wasn't at a spot where I wanted to chat because with my monotropic thinking, I had my sequence that I needed to follow. And I just, no interruptions. Clear the way. Clear it out. I needed to beeline it for one spot because after I put on my shirt, I knew that I needed to brush my teeth. After I brushed my teeth, I knew that I needed to brush my hair. I knew that I needed to practice this particular script that I was going to do for filming, and I had it all. I had it all mapped out. So we're not chit-chatting right now. I can't do it. You cannot thwart the steam engine. There's a lot of motion happening. The inertia is building. I'm heading in a direction. You can't just stop the train at this spot. If she would have hit me when I was in bed before, then, it's a different story. But she missed that. She missed the train. I was inertiaing it to the laundry room, and I knew she was there. As soon as I got there, hey, buddy, I'm so busy. I'm so busy. Shy. And all I could hear in the background was giggling because she knew. She knew exactly what that meant. And that's magic. That's true love. Passion. That's another word I like to use. Passion. I say it just like that because it's nasty. You can say passion. Oh, I have so much passion for this work. Or passion. I have so much passion. Passion. That's how it's supposed to be said. That's how I use it. And I'll throw that word out anytime, all the time, whenever I want. So there you have it. All right, my fellow neurospicies out there. What are some weird things that you do? Does this stuff that I mentioned, does anyone else do this stuff? Do you do it? Do you avoid spaces? I know there are quite a few of you that have pretty restrictive eating habits. And I've read some of the comments. You guys will eat the same thing for a year, 2 years. I remember I posted a comment, I've been eating the same thing for 3 weeks. I had people chiming in like, 3 weeks? Are you kidding me? I've been doing it for 13 years. Rookie. But what about language? Do you guys have your own special words that you use? Words that maybe help simplify things? Words they just mean so many different things. And they're your go-to words. Or maybe words that just make you feel really good inside. Make your body all juicy and splendid. Splendored. Make you feel a little bit splendored? I feel splendored. That's splendid? Splendored isn't even a word. That's another thing I do. You take words like peaceful. I've changed it to peaceably. I say peaceably. Oh, this spot is so peaceably. And peaceful, 2 syllables. Peaceably, 3 syllables. It doesn't even make sense. I'm exerting extra effort to say this word. But it's just peaceably. I love saying those words. I like changing words to make them fit how I think they're supposed to sound. That's how they're supposed to go. Anyway, what was I talking about? Yeah, do you guys do any of this stuff? Drop in the comments. Share some of the weird stuff that you do with language. Share some of the weird quirks that you do because you're autistic or have ADHD or quite possibly have both. If you have both, I know you do some weird weird things. We know it. Everyone knows it. So share it. Drop it in the comment section. As always, thanks for watching. It's a giggly word. Think of peaceably. Oh, it's so peaceably. Stupid. Idiot. But I love it. Yes!